Former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF Babachir Lawal, has revealed that the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi actually won the elections. Lawal made this revelation while answering questions in an interview on Channel's TV Politics Tonight on Monday. He said that based on the facts available to him, Obi won the elections that produced Bola Tinubu. That's while SGF maintained that President Tinubu did not win the elections, stressing that the result available to him at the time shows he did not win the elections. While solidifying his claim, Lawal reiterated that they monitored the elections, collected data, and monitored the results from the fields. He added that some of the results were altered. When asked what was President Tinubu's offense against him, Lawal said the president's is arrogance.
The friend means. The problem with Bola Tinubu is that he thinks I'm the one that offended him. I didn't offend him, he offended me.
What did you do to him?
No, it's not for television, that one. But he offended me. And he's full of himself, and he thinks that because he's now so-called president.
Is he so-called or he's the president?
So-called.
That's the president of the Federal Republic.
I believe he didn't win the election.
What makes you think so? Because you supported Peter Obi?
Yes.
So that's why you think...
The results available to us at that time believe he didn't win the election.
But the court says otherwise.
The court, of course, you know who they are.
The court stands for justice.
Yeah, the court stands for justice in court.
So you don't believe in the courts?
I believe in the courts. What can you do? They are there. They are supposed to do their duties. They are doing their duties. It's not about believing.
So if you don't believe Bola Tinubu won the election, the court in the first, the result at the poll says he won. The court in the first instance says he won. Yes. The court in the second instance says he won.
Yes, but the facts on the ground said he didn't win.
Who now won? Atiku?
Peter Obi won that election.
That came third.
According to the result that was announced, not according to the true results.
So, how do you determine who won an election?
We have the data now. Look, we had monitors on the field, we had agents on the field, we collected our data, we know our results, we know the results that were coming in from the field. We can see clearly the point at which they were altered. We can see clearly, you know.
Was it altered in Anambra? Was it altered in Abia? Was he altered in Enugu? Peter Obi won landslide. He won over 90% of the votes in that region.
Yes.
He beat Bola Tinubu in Lagos.
Yes.
He had huge votes in the North Central.
It doesn't mean there are no states where election was conducted. There are. You know, when you do rigging, you rig only where you are strong. And because...
Is Peter Obi strong in Lagos? That is Bola Tinubu's state.
Yes.
As a politician, you know what it means when you lose your home top.
I know what it means. They didn't understand the demography of Lagos very well at that time.
So it was a shocker.
It was a shocker. They underplayed the demography of Lagos. And it shocked them. And the demography showed. Subsequent elections, they worked on that demographic issue. That's why there was voter suppression in the gubernatorial election. And in this last election, local government. The demography took them by surprise.
Would you still be supporting Peter Obi in 2027?
I think they say a day in politics is long. Things have changed. The parameters that we were used to evaluate our candidate in 2023 is going to be different from this one. Things have moved on, so we'll see when we get there, we'll see what goes.
This offense that Bola Tinubu offended you must be a very grave one.
Excessive.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he almost kill you?
No.
Did he kill your child?
No.
Did he steal from you? What exactly could he have done that is so grave?
See, yeah, my friend, when we get off the television, I will tell you, if you want to know.
I'd like to know.
Not on television.
But he thought you offended him.
Yeah, because it was arrogance. The guy has an arrogance that belies definition.
That's the president, the number one citizen of the nation.
Isn't that a human being? When you get to president, do you become suddenly Jesus Christ? Or do you suddenly become Muhammad? You are still who you are. Being a president doesn't change who you are.
But he's older than you.
Of course.
You know, where I come from, they say you use age to cheat a child. Maybe
you cheat him. You are using the correct, so you cheat a child. So
no. Proverbially, that's what it says. Our people in Yoruba will say, "What do you use age for?" If not to. But I mean, don't you think as a Christian?
When I grew up, the way I was brought up, the way I grew up, not necessarily I was brought up. I don't respect you because you have money. It's not of no value to me. Because you have money, it's of no value to me. Because you have age, you cannot use it to suppress my truth. It's of no value to me. You cannot use it to suppress my truth. Because you have power, you cannot use it to suppress my truth. That's the way I grew up.
Did he suppress you?
No, because you brought the matter on age.
Did he humiliate you in any way?
No, it's worse than that. What if we talk?
It must be very bad.
It is very, very bad.
Have you had the opportunity to speak with him about it?
I just told you who he is. When the people come to me, they come to me. Somebody said, Oga, it's time to reconcile with their friend. They think they will make insinuations of political positions. If you are there, people behind.
Well, I wonder why these confessions are coming now. Is it because of the elections that is due in 2027? It's strange, really, because again, we've seen Amechi come out and say that Peter Obi won the elections. We've seen Rufai also come out to say that Peter Obi won the elections. Why didn't they say this 2 years earlier when things were rosy? Why didn't they come out to say this? Why are they saying it now? Because again, they want to play into the hands of gullible Nigerians who were looking at, choosing who becomes Nigeria's next president. I mean, you would think to yourself, even though, yes, the President Bola Tinubu might not have done the best of things, might not have taken certain decisions that are directly important or that are directly to the greater good of the people. If you see his policies, removal of fuel subsidy, not backing it with anything that has to do with supporting the system, whether it is via CNG buses or whether it is via increase in minimum wage that has also been eroded by the increase in fuel pump prices. He hasn't done really so much for the masses, but this decision that he has taken must be taken, no matter how you look at it. Whether you are looking for an Atiku or Peter Obi, they all said that they were going to remove subsidies, so that it was going to be a staggered situation, a situation where subsidy would be gradually removed, or better still, whatever monies that has been saved from it will be channeled into something much more productive for those who are the vulnerable in the society. So there's nothing practical you can say that the president has done for the vulnerable in the society, except for the highfalutin numbers that we hear every now and then that they said they've paid to poor households. We also hear about the school program, the school feeding program for primary schools. We also hear about the loan, the NEL fund loan for university students. But then you wonder, we've also seen that has also gotten into murky waters because there were also blames upon blames about students not receiving the loans, and some students even paid school fees before the loans came, and then the school withheld the monies, still shrouded in so much secrecy and controversy as the case may be. So there hasn't been anything channeled steadily to the people, except for minimum wage, which people will say, okay, it was increased by over 100%, but yet the increase is not commensurate with the sufferings or the removal of fuel subsidy that made fuel from 200 naira per liter to over 1,200 naira. So there's still an issue, in that regard. A lot of persons are scheming and they're crying to the top of their heads and saying clearly that government spending for its elites are just too much compared to its workers. All right. Now one would wonder, really, why are these men coming now? Is it because the elections are around the corner? If elections were not less than 2 years away, would these men still come out to speak about these issues? So it's neither here nor there. These are people who were part of the last government. That's the truth. Amechi was part of the last government. They never said anything about the incompetence of Buhari. Rufai was part of the last government. They didn't speak of the direction that the government was taking Nigerians to. We know that it was the worst government that Nigeria has ever had. Babachir Lawal, of course, we know of his grass cutting scandal that made him, resign from the government of Buhari in the first term. So there's a lot. These people are basically not telling us. They're coming out to the media to speak to the masses regarding their disdain for this government, but forgetting that these same guys were part of the failure of the last administration. So on what basis are we going to be looking at them and say, oh well, right now they've turned to become saints because they've left the APC and they're looking to grab power through the back door or through a Peter Obi who has shown to be one who is credible amongst them? I mean, imagine all these people line up behind an Atiku, for instance, to grab power. Because again, what would be the difference between a Buhari, a Tinubu, and Atiku? If at all, we at the end of the day we end up giving an Atiku the ticket to fly the flag for any of the parties, what would be the difference really? Have you ever asked yourself that? There's really nothing that would change. I mean, the only thing that we could say, you know, that would basically change is if the ticket is handed over to Obi and everybody supports Obi. If Obi is supported by the North and Atiku and all of those people right now, then we know that Peter Obi can look them in the face and say, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this and I'm going to do this. After all, I have just 4 years to run the government. You know, so he's going to be blindsided when it comes to the things that he would be asking for, him to do if he becomes the president, if this guy supports them. Now, beyond that, we know what happened in Anambra. Peter Obi refused to approve certain amount of monies for the State House of Assembly, and he was impeached by the State House of Assembly, but he got his power. He got his numbers back. He got his seat back through the court. Remember that. So he's the kind of guy that would say no to the people, to the men that be, and bearing the consequences. And if he tells you no, he's not going to, and he will say the reasons to the Nigerians why he's saying no to this particular thing. So he's the kind of guy, if he's supported by these people, then he can get in there and do what he needs to do. After 4 years, he goes. Then anything that happens afterwards, so be it. But of course, I'm sure that he would love to put in somebody who would have some sort of direction, just like him, who would be as shrewd in terms of managing government resources as him. So I think we should be looking in that direction, because he has shown to be the only person basically that would be totally different from the kind of government that has been in existence since 1999. So an opportunity for that to happen, and again an opportunity to heal basically, because since the 1999 there hasn't been any Igbo man given the opportunity to rule. So an opportunity for Nigeria to feel the pulse of Igbos, and of course to channel Igbos back into the mainstream politics. This is that opportunity that will be given, and I think that this is a time to do that, and the only way out, is to basically support Peter Obi. If that doesn't happen, if he doesn't flag that flag in the ADC, really, there's nobody that would emerge in those numbers that anybody is going to look at. Really, I mean, is it an Atiku? He was part of government for 8 years as vice president. What exactly did he do? Is it an Erufai? Is it an Amechi? Is it a Babachir? Like, who are these people who are speaking to us right now that we want to listen to and then hear them out? I mean, I think that this guy should be bringing new faces, fresh faces, to speak to us about issues of governance. Not these same old people who have looked at the government, who have been part of the previous government that has failed us, that we're listening to right now. No, we shouldn't be listening to them right now, because they were part of the rot. So I don't know what you think. Let me know in the comments.